Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Raghuji, will you do the invocation, please?
पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायत पत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारत तैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमय प्रदीपः प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं भीष्मद्रोणतथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोर मकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यसरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैः स्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः।
Hari Om. We will start with chapter 10 today. So, Sri Bhagavanuvacha, Sri Bhagavanuvacha, Bhuya eva mahabaho, Bhuya eva mahabaho, Shrunu me paramam vachaha, Shrunu me paramam vachaha, Yatteham priyamanaya, Yatteham priyamanaya, Vakshyami hita kamyaya, Vakshyami hita kamyaya, Yatteham priyamanaya, Vakshyami hita kamyaya. Sri Bhagavanuvacha, Bhuya eva mahabaho, Shunu me paramam vachaha, Yatteham priyamanaya, Vakshyami hita kamyaya. Bhuya, Bhagavanuvacha we know, Bhuya again, eva in truth, mahabaho, hey mighty armed Pandava. Shrunu, listen to me, hear me. Me, my, paramam, the ultimate, vachaha, teachings. Yat teham, yat, which, te, to you, aham, I, priyamanaya, because you are dear to me, vakshyami, I shall tell you. Vakshyami, to I shall tell, I shall speak. Hita kamyaya, because if you're desiring your welfare, because kamyaya, desiring hita, your welfare. Chapter 10 is an interesting move in the entire conversation. See, chapter 9, up to chapter 9, Sri Krishna has been talking before chapter 9. Up to chapter 8, he has been talking in general. Chapter 9, he starts moving into very clear specifics of what Brahman is. Right? And which is why it is called the Raja Guhya, Raja Vidya, and so on and so forth. Now, Krishna starts off by saying that I shall tell you even further. Now, firstly, he says, Priyamanaya. Priyamanaya, you are somebody who I like, somebody who I desire, somebody who I happy with. When will a teacher be happy? When a teacher sees the student learning, right? So when the student is showing interest, the student is asking the right questions, the student is being attentive, that is when the teacher is getting more and more engrossed in the teaching process, and therefore going deeper and deeper into the subject. And he says, I shall now declare to you. Now, we have to remember one very, very, very important thing, that this is a dialogue. And you cannot jump into chapter 10. A lot of people do, because it's a very beautiful chapter in terms of the poetry of the chapter itself and so on and so forth. And people use it as a tool for discussion. But I always say that Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue of 700 shlokas, and you cannot jump into any particular shloka without having the context of the shloka. So here is the context where he's saying that I have led you up to a certain point. Now, let me take you further and let me explain to you how do you engage with this entire world. Now, what is this world? So, I was explaining this in some other class that we look at this world, chapter 9, verses 4, 5, 6, very clearly talk about this, that this world, some believe that it is a transformation of the divine, some believe that it is a projection of the divine. Gita very clearly says that it is neither, it is the divine. It is nothing but the divine, except that it is a projection in as much as the changes that I'm seeing are only on the surface, like the ocean that we have looked at. Now, unfortunately, because of our limitations based on our body, mind, intellect identifications and our vasanas, we are unable to grasp that which is formless, eternal, attributeless. And therefore, we need a certain form, we need a certain sagunatmak manifestation. This sagunatmak manifestation we call Ishvara. Correct? Till now, you're all with me here till now? This is something we have already done. Now, what is this Ishvara? How do I look at this Ishvara? How do I examine this Ishvara? How do I start relating to this Ishvara? That is what chapter 10 starts with. So chapter 10 takes us to that point where I can understand the concept of Ishvara very beautifully, very clearly. And therefore, in this particular shloka, he here very clearly tells us that I shall tell you this because it is good for you. It is good for you because you have not been able to grasp what I told you in chapter 9, that you are the eternal, formless, attributeless Brahman. So, what is good for you? I need you to start grasping that. So, you grasp at something that you can understand and then move from there. So, therefore, he starts off. Any questions here till now? Or otherwise, we will move to verse. Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to understand again the name of this chapter, Vibhuti. Of course, I got confused with the Vibhuti which we wear on our forehead, but I think the spelling is slightly different there. And
No,
I'm
it's the
not so
same.
sure. Or is it the same? Then is it a completely different meaning, or is it related in any way? How do they derive?
Shloka number 3, where he will use the word vibhuti.
Okay.
Right? In Shloka 3, he will use the word vibhuti, so we will talk about vibhuti over there. And yes, you're right. The name of this particular chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga. Right? So let us look at Shloka 2. Now he says, Name vidu suragana, Name vidu suraganaha, Prabhavam namaharshayah, Prabhavam namaharshayah, Name vidu suraganaha, Prabhavam namaharshayah, Ahamadir hi devanam, Ahamadir hi devanam, Maharshinam cha sarvashah, Maharshinam cha sarvashah, Ahamadir hi devanam, Maharshinam cha sarvashah, Name viduh suraganaha, Prabhavam na maharshayah, Ahamadir devanam, Maharshinam cha sarvashah. Na, neither, may, my, viduhu, to know. With, the word with itself means knowledge. Viduhu, knowing. Suragana, Sura means the devas. Suraganaha. Prabhavam, origin. Na, not. Maharishayaha, Maharishihi, the great sages. Aham, I, Adihi. Aham, Adihi, I am the source. He, certainly, Devanam, of the Rishis, Maharshinam, of the great Rishis, and the gods, or the Devas, Cha, also in every way, Sarvashaha, in every way. Now, what is the Maharshi? What is the meaning of the Maharshi? So here, this chapter in itself, if you read Madhvacharya, if you read Ramanujacharya, or if you read Shankaracharya, you will find that Shankaracharya's Bhashya is completely very, very different here in lines with the other two. Because in this, the understanding at an Advaitic level has to be interpreted rather than taken at face value. So, whereas both Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya, and thereby ISKCON and so on and so forth, also take it at face value. I am the source of the Maharshis and the Devas. Take it at face value. Oh, the Devas came from me. I gave birth to them. I gave birth to the Maharshi, to the Saptarishis. What is the Saptarishi? What is the meaning of the Saptarishi? What is a Rishi?
Realized soul, one who...
Drishtas.
Drashta, very good. He who sees. Correct? Drashta iti rishihi, right? Mantra drashta iti rishihi, etc., etc. So, he who sees. What to see? What do you need? See here is perceive. Okay, not eyes. So what do you need? You need the power. You need the power of the senses, right? You need the power of the senses, which means you need the ability to sight, not the eyes. The concept of sight, the concept of smell, the concept of taste. These are required to have something to be seen. Is that clear? Right? What are these called? These are called tanmatras. इतना तो clear है? Yes, no?
Yes, but
Okay.
isn't jnanam also required there?
No, wait. We'll come to jnanam later. No, you don't require jnanam. You don't require, you require something else. You're right. You require something else. What do you require? You require existence. Firstly, you require existence, isn't it? Without existence, how can you see?
Yeah.
Right? A separated existence. A separated existence. That which is existing everywhere is not seeing anything because it is existing everywhere. I need to have the act of seeing means that there is something to be seen, which means there is a duality that has existed. Now, this primary duality that exists, in Advaita, we call it Mahat. We call it Mahat, right? I've explained this when we looked at chapter 2 itself. So, we called it Mahat. And this Mahat has to have a sense of I, right? Which is called Ahamkara. So, how many Tanmatras are there? 5. To use the Tanmatras, what do you require? You require Mahat and you require Ahamkara. What does that total up to? 7. What is the 7? The Saptarishis. Now, all of these, where do they originate from? Consciousness. They cannot come without consciousness, correct? So, I am the source of the Saptarishis. Is not I am the source of Vashishta, I am the source of Bhrigu, I am the source of Atri, I am not the source. It is not the source. That is not the source that he is talking about. That is a very gross level of understanding. I as consciousness am the source of what can be perceived. Now, to perceive this, I require sense organs, right? I need the physical equipment to be able to perceive this. What do we call these physical equipments? We call them that which illuminates, right? That which illuminates. To see, it has to be illuminated, and there must be an instrument that will see that illumination. The word to illuminate comes from the root word diva, right? From which the roots are divakar, divas, etc., all of those that we see. And therefore also the word deva. So consciousness is the source of both the instruments of perception and that which is perceived. All of this together are me alone. Now, a very easy way I could have gone away from this by describing it is, oh, he is the source of origin, and therefore, if you look at the world, there will be some Saptarishis, Atri, Bhrigu, Kritsa, Gautama, Kashyapa, etc., and we chant the 7 names every day during doing your Sandhya Vandanam, and so all those 7, they came from this divine being, and then all the devas also came, right? So in the form of all the devas, so we do Adityam Tarpayami, etc. So we do all the call of in the Sandhya Vandanam, you have chanted all the names, and therefore all the existence has been worshipped. No, that is not what we are talking about. We are talking about consciousness alone. Consciousness is the source of the 7 rishis, Mahat, Ahamkar, and the 5 Tanmatras. The Tanmatras can be used only using tools or instruments of perception, which are your sense organs, which are called devas. Now, I'm being consistent here. If you notice, when we talked about Deva Yagya in chapter 4, wherever we have used the word Deva, we have used this interpretation alone. Right? Who is the Deva of the hands? The Deva of the hands is Indra. The Devas of the eyes is Surya. The Devas of the mind is Chandra. Right? And so on and so forth. The Deva here indicates the power of working with a particular instrument. That's all. So here he says very clearly that I am that which created that. Aham adirhi devanam. But they cannot know me. They cannot know me. Right? Now, let's very simply put, unless your father told you about his entire history, would you know about him? Very true, isn't it? Somebody has to sit down and tell you. And unless it is he himself, somebody else telling you, it is his perception of your father. So if my dad sat down with me and he explained what he did when he was in class 1, when he did what he did in class 2, and what he did in class 3, and how he was thrashed by one teacher in class 4, and how he was bullied or he bullied somebody, all of those individual stories, will I ever know them? No. I will never know them unless he declares them to me. So the source consciousness is not known by the effect. The cause cannot be known by the effect. And therefore he says, Name viduhu. They cannot know me. The tanmatras cannot sit down and know me. The ahankar cannot sit down and know me. The tools and instruments of perception cannot sit down and know me. To know me, you have to go do something beyond that. You have to sit down with me and talk to me. And then I will tell you. Right? Otherwise, what do you know? Oh, you look at your dad and you say, okay, he looks like this. He's 5 feet 10 inches in height. He has a waist of such and such. That's all that you know. Unless he sits down and tells you. But for him to sit down and tell you, what do you have to do? You have to go to him and ask him, isn't it? Hey, dad, tell me about how you were born. Tell me about your mother. Tell me about the place where you were born. Tell me about your stories in school. Tell me about your stories in college. That's when you start knowing him. So you have to approach. In that approach, sorry, I think the rain here keeps causing some problem with the Wi-Fi. I'm not sure as to why that happens, but anyway. So here he says, Name viduhu. So let's move to verse number 3. Yo mam. So, Raghuji, I'll come back to you just a minute. Give me a minute. Yo mam ajaman. Yo mam majamam ajam. Yo mam ajamanadim. Yo mam ajamanadim. Chaveti loka maheshwaram. Chaveti loka maheshwaram. Yo mam ajamanadim. Chaveti loka maheshwaram. Asammudha sasamritmartyeshu. Asammudha samartyeshu. Sarvapape pramuchyate. Sarvapape pramuchyate. Asammudha samartyeshu. Sarvapape pramuchyate. Yo mamajamam anadim. Chaveti loka maheshwaram. Asammudha samartyeshu. Sarvapape pramuchyate. So, just I'll explain and then Raghuji, you can ask whatever you were wanting to say. Yah, those, mam, me, ajam, unborn, anadim, without any beginning, anadi. If I'm ajam, I am not born. I am by definition anadi, unbeginningless, cha, and veti, again from the root with. So veti, knowing, loka, of this universe, of this loka, of this plane, maheshwaram, maha-ishwaram, supreme lord, asammudha, those undeluded, mudaha, some mudaha, okay, mudaha, deluded, some mudaha, samyak mudaha, completely deluded, asammudha, those who are completely undeluded, saha, they, martyeshu, of those who are prone to dying, those who are afflicted by mrityu, martyeshu, those who are mortal, sarva papehi, those from all evils, from all papa, pramuchyate, are freed. So those who know me as unborn, those who know me as beginningless, those who know me as the supreme lord of all the lokas, they, of all the mortals, they are the ones who are free from all illusion and they are released from all papa. Yes, Raghuji.
So, the second verse, I felt it was also one of those very important verses in the Gita, because he's actually telling very clearly that you can't use the faculties of your senses and the energies that are needed to cast light on the objects that you're trying to observe. This process of observing and the use of your senses cannot suffice to know me. He's actually very clearly saying that. He says you have to go beyond this, you have to go away from this, Antarmukha Samaradhya. Basically, he is looking, you have to look inwards and get away from all these sense organs. That's the only way to know me. So I just felt that this was like a very, like the Anuvakyas in the various Vedas. This is one verse, I guess, this is very, very important.
Very, very beautifully put. Gurudev used to say, for that matter, I think Sadhguru has got a slogan which says "Get out to get." What is it? Get in to get out, or something
Get
of
in
that
to
sort.
get out. Yeah.
Get in to get out. And Gurudev used to do this. If you had too many questions, suddenly he would turn to you and with a very loud voice, he would say, "Shut up and get out." And the person who was obviously not aware of what Gurudev was talking about would get a shock. And he said, "Why is this man so rude? And he's insulting me in the presence of so many people." But you see, that's a beautiful learning. What is he talking about? He's talking about the fact you need to shut up, meaning shut up your mind, and get out, meaning get out of the consciousness that you are the body, mind, intellect. And only then can you go there. So the Upanishad is also very clear, where the mind cannot reach, the tongue cannot describe, the eyes cannot see. That is the place that you need to go. Right? And therefore, the Upanishad himself, the Rishi of the Upanishad, he's saying, whatever I'm saying here is not something that you can understand directly. You need to experience it. Understanding it is not going to take me there. Intellect is not going to take me there. So, yes, please.
So there was another kind of epiphany, I would say, as we were talking about this thing. You see, if you think about it, there must be a zillion such universe projections. And a zillion, I'm limited because I don't know a bigger number, but there must be a zillion such, and within this universe, there may be a zillion such populations of evolved souls who are going through this same anguish and introspection and all that. We are just one. We are on a speck of dust floating somewhere in the middle of the Milky Way, basically, right? And we tend to give so much importance to ourselves, but the fact is, we have to kind of realize that the way out of this is to not stop worrying about the whole thing. We are not that important that we have to find the reason to our own existence.
So, which is why. So therefore, the Rishis, what did they do? They said, fine, let's forget about the external world, just go inside. And they concentrated on looking at inside. And from that insight, they said what is applicable inside can be extrapolated outside. Yatha pinde tatha brahmande. Therefore, they went did that particular thing. So now coming back to this particular thing here, let us explain and look at the words here and saying, ajam, ajamam, anadim, we have understood. We have seen that repeatedly. Sarva loka maheshwaraha. What is the word loka here? What is the word loka? Now, again, one of the grosser, easier interpretations. Oh, there are 7 lokas above us, 7 lokas below us. Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha, Maha, Jana, Tapa, Satyam, Atala, Patala, Vitala, Rasatala, etc. Talatala, so many of these. So therefore, it is the 14 lokas. I am the ruler of all these 14 lokas. Actually, if you look at it, what is the word loka? हम लोग ये बोलते हैं ना, there is a word we use somewhere कि कवि लोक के अंदर में, कवियों के अंदर में, कवि लोक के अंदर में, right? In the world of chartered accountants, in the world of engineers, now, do we mean that there is a separate world on which only engineers like you, Raghuji, go and sit, or a world of chartered accountants where somebody like Sunil is going and sitting? Is there a world like that, right? I mean, I'm genuinely wishing that there should not be such worlds. Very, very problematic worlds we would have. But when we say this, what are we talking of? We are talking of fields of existence. Understand this. Fields of existence, right? Fields of experience, not existence, sorry. Fields of experience. The experience. A loka means a field or a plane of experience. Now, every field of experience that you have, how are you experiencing? Because you are conscious. Without that consciousness, you cannot experience. Correct? So when he says, I am the ruler of every field of experience that you have gone through or will go through ever in the future, I am the ruler, is saying that without me, without the concept of consciousness, without the existence of consciousness, there cannot be a field of experience. Hence he says, I am the, know me as the Veti Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Those who know this, those who understand this, they are freed. Asammudaha. They become freed. Papa, we have understood earlier also. We have seen the meaning of the word Papa, so I'm not explaining all those words. So here the word Loka Maheshwara, you have to understand this from the Advaitic meaning of this. Loka here is the field of experience. Every field of experience. I experience this world as a housewife. I experience this world as a homemaker. I experience this world as a person who is earning money. I experience this world as a father. I experience this world as a mother. I experience this world as an employee or an employer. All of these experiences, what are they ruled by? They are ruled by consciousness. Because without the existence of consciousness, these experiences can't even exist in their own. Hence, he says very clearly that I am declares that I am Sarvaloka Maheshwaraha. I am the Supreme Lord of every field of experience. Loka. So we move on. Verse number 4, which we will do as the last verse of today. Sorry, just 1 second. Okay. So, Buddhir-jnanam asammohaha. Buddhir-jnanam asammohaha. Kshama satyam damah shamaha. Kshama satyam damah shamaha. Buddhir-jnanam asammohaha. Kshama satyam damah shamaha. Sukham dukkham bhavo bhavo. Sukham dukkham bhavo bhavo. Bhayam cha bhayameva cha. Bhayam cha bhayameva cha. I'll carry on with 5 because 4 and 5 are together. Ahimsa samata tushti. Ahimsa samata tushti. Okay, there is a sandhi here which is giving that sa sound. Actually, if we break it, we pronounce it as ahimsa samata tushtihi. Tapodanam yasho yashaha. Ahimsa samata tushtihi. Tapodanam yasho yashaha. Bhavanti bhava bhutanam. Bhavanti bhava bhutanam. Matta eva prithagvidhaha. Matta eva prithagvidhaha. Bhavanti bhava bhutanam. Matta eva prithagvidhaha. Ahimsa samata tushtihi. Tapodanam yasho yashaha. Bhavanti bhava bhutanam. Matta eva prithagvidhaha. Buddhi, intellect. Jnanam, knowledge. Asammoha. Moha is attachment. Moha is delusion. So asammoha is clarity of thought. Kshama, forgiveness. Satyam, truthfulness. Dhamma, control over the senses. Kshama, control over the mind. Sukham, joy. Dukkham, sorrow. Bhava, birth. Abhava. Abhava has 2 meanings. One is lack. And since it is being put with bhava, contextually it means death. Bhayam, fear. Cha, and abhayam, courage. Eva, certainly. Cha, and ahimsa, non-violence. samata, equanimity, tushti, contentment, tapa, austerity, dhanam, charity, yasha, fame, ayasha, infamy, bhavanti, arise, bhava, quality, bhutanam, amongst all the human beings, amongst all people, matta, from me alone, matta eva, all the pritagvidha, different varieties. So what he is saying here, which is an explanation of the previous shloka. Whether in the previous shloka he talked about the fields of experience. In the fields of experience, as the Sarvaloka Maheshwara, he is now explaining what are the fields of experience that you might feel. You will get experiences through your intellect, you will get experiences through your knowledge, you will get experiences through your thought, you get experiences in your interactions with other people, you get experiences because of the behavior of other people towards you, fame and not infamy. You get experiences because of some things physically that happen around you, fear and courage. You get experiences because of your mental state or your attitude of non-violence and equanimity. All these experiences arise and are sustained because of consciousness alone. He's not judging. He's not telling you this is right, this is wrong. Right? While a lot of the experiences that he's talking about are more positive than the negative ones, but that's okay. He's not judging and telling you this is good, this is bad. All he's saying very clearly is that this is a list of all the possibilities that not all, but a whole list of large possibilities that you are experiencing, your field of experiences that arises from your body, mind, and intellect. They are all coming from the source, which is me, consciousness. Having said that, he then moves to the next shloka, which is number 6, which is our shloka for Manan. Shloka 7 talks about Vibhuti, so we will get there later. But just understand shloka 6, which is your shloka for Manan. Maharshya sapta purve, chatvaro manavastatha, madbhava manasa jata, yesham loka imah prajah, madbhava manasa jata, yesham loka imah prajah, maharshya sapta purve, chatvaro manavastatha, madbhava manasa jata, yesham loka imah prajah. Maharshaya, the great sages, sapta, 7. So the 7 great sages, purve, before, chatvaraha, 4 again, manavasthatha. Manava is the plural of manu, the plural of manus, manavasthatha, and also madbhava, their bhava is to be creating, right? Therefore, bhava, the word bhava means to be existing. Bhava, therefore, means to be creating, to come, make into creation, to bring forth. So, madbhava, born from me. Where from me? Manasaha, from my mind. Right? Jataha, born. Yesham, from them. Loke, in this world. Imaha, all these prajaha, people. So, again, my manan for you is from the immediate, the immediate direct meaning is the Pauranic meaning. There were Sapta Rishis, there were the Manus, and from each yuga there is a Manu, right? The Manu of this particular yuga is called Vaivaswata, right? The Manu of the previous yuga was called Savarni, and so on and so forth. There are 7 Manus that we have gone through, right? And so on and so forth. So all these, the direct meaning would be, oh, I created the Saptarishis and I created the 4 Manus, and from these, the entire population of this world has been born. That cannot be the direct meaning. The Pauranic meaning is not what we are taking. So what I want you to do is to do a manan and try and understand what will this actually mean from the Advaitic standpoint. That is the manan that we have to do for today. Yes, Raghuji.
Sir,
Yes, Veena ji first. Yes, go.
no, sir, the pronunciation in that, Yesham Loka Ima, ma is Aki Matra is there. Then Visarga is there. So how we can pronounce that one?
Which shloka are you talking about?
It's the same, sixth one.
Maha,
Madbhava manasa jata yesham loka imha ima.
Okay. Madbhava manasa jata yesham loka imah prajaha.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Raghuji.
So if you look at the verses 4 and 5, in light of verses 4 and 5, verse 3 can only be interpreted in one way. That is, the way that you mentioned to us, the way it has to be taken about the being unborn and all that, and the fact that it is consciousness that is driving all our perceptions, that is kind of reinforced by verse 4 and 5. So in fact, once you do 4 and 5, we cannot think of verse 2 and 3 in a different way.
So fair enough. Despite that, I mean, your thinking has been conditioned by the fact that you have been sitting through and doing 9 chapters in the Advaitic methodology. If you read Ramanujacharya, then you will say, oh, this is also right. So,
Okay.
so let us, instead of getting there, let's follow the path that we have chosen, right? Our path being the method of Advaitic thinking, of non-dualistic thinking, which is the tradition that I have been trained under Gurudev. So thinking that way, yes, you are right, that the interpretation of 4 and 5 follows from interpretation of 3 as the field of experience. Taking the same thing forward in verse 6, I want you to think that through and come back in the next session.